Okay, awesome, brilliant. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining. And first and foremost, what an honor it is to be with everyone here today at the National Incubation Center in Islamabad. It's actually my first time here. I've normally been to the one in Lahore a few times. I've been at different startup conferences across Lahore, Islamabad, and Karachi, but never at the NIC. So it's a real honor for me to be here, and particularly at an institution that is almost founded, I believe, over 300 startups now, which is, I think, really impressive. And just a couple of the conversations we were having before, I think there should be a few of the speakers should be on stage with me, actually, delivering today's presentation. So purpose for today is how we can better understand what's happening in the world of generative AI, and then look at how do we be inspired ourselves as founders, operators, VCs, industry leaders, and then really execute this into our companies that we're doing today. So who am I? My name is Hashim Syed. So I was born in London. I grew up there as well as the Netherlands, but I've always maintained strong cultural roots of Pakistan, primarily through Lahore. And my mantra throughout my career has been to be hungry in your pursuits, have energy in how you turn up, and really hustle to drive the change that you want to see in the world. And I think that each of us in this room would just love to see, put your hand up if you're a founder. Okay, great. Operator, researcher, great. VC, investor, academics, mix of things. Okay, great, right? So each of us in this room across our different domains has the real power and privilege from where we sit to drive the change. And with the technology that at the pace of the change is happening, if we can harness that correctly, we can really deliver and build the world that we actually want to see. And I've been really fortunate across my career to work at some fantastic companies with some really incredible cultures on what is happening, not only in technology, but how it's shaping the world. And then had the experience and the highs and the many lows of launching my own startups on the way, having some success, having some unsuccess, but also a lot of lessons learned in that journey. So subject of today's talk is how do we execute with generative AI? So for the next kind of 10, 15 minutes, let's go deeper in how GenAI is changing the world around us. What are the trends? What are the use cases? And how can we really stimulate more innovation and ideas coming from this very room and our country here in Pakistan? So the rise of GenAI has really marked the start of a new era, right? AI is transforming it's a transformational technology that really has the power to bring meaningful change and positive change to the people and societies across the globe. And at Google, we're doing this in 4 different ways. So first, by improving knowledge, learning, and productivity with our products. So who here is using Gemini for Workspace? Great. So you will have seen actually that on the top right-hand corner of Gemini for Workspace, you have that little Gemini icon. Now, over 70% of the users that are using this feature are implementing the suggestions when it says, help me draft a new slide, help me draft an email, improve this documentation for me. And that is really important because it is showing that people are becoming more digitally native, but also more AI enabled in the tools they're using, and more trust in leveraging that. And it's a really good, powerful network to see how can we better use these tools. Second, Google is really focused on building the most helpful personal computing platforms in the world. So whether you're using an Android device or Google Chrome laptop, we are really investing a lot in these hypercomputers, and we want to empower customers like yourselves to really architect your own AI platforms, build and fine-train and fine-tune the models at your disposal. And if we think of tools like Vertex AI, has been used by over 1 million developers per quarter, and that's only ramping up. So it's a really exciting time to be in the space. Third, we want to enable developers, businesses, and other organizations to build their own transformative products and solve problems that they're facing. Whether it's across marketing, sales, operations, now is really the time where we can identify what are the big gaps we see in the world around us and how can GenAI help us to do that. And I think finally, and this is really important, we need to be building and deploying AI in a bold but also responsible manner. Right? Everyone needs to benefit from this technology, and that's the power that each of us has to make sure that if we harness it, we use it, we can make it mass accessible. And that's why we're really excited and proud that almost 90% of generative AI unicorns are Google Cloud customers. And what you see on the screen is that, look, Google is here to partner with you to drive this evolution, right? We have a rich history of open source and proprietary innovation across search, hardware, data algorithms, and models. In 2001 was on the top left-hand corner here, is when Google first actually started innovating machine learning. That's when spell check was used in search. When you used to enter keywords into search, we all used to get it wrong. That's when that first started to come out. Then we had the development of Google Translate to where we are now in 2017, we had the announcement of the transformer model. So Google researchers and scientists actually developed the world's first transformer model, which is the T in GPT. So you can now think where has this technology ended up and where has it gone to, empowering different research and innovation today. And Gemini is just the most recent manifestation of this technology leadership, right? This year alone, we've ended with a real bang. We've announced Willow, which is our groundbreaking quantum chip. Trillium is our 6th generation TPU, which is gonna power even more generative AI capabilities and is available in preview. And also Vertex AI, VO, Imagen, and I don't know who's using Notebook LM in here. Love it, like it, great, right? Notebook LM is one of the world's most advanced AI research assistants, right? So every single person in this room, if you're not using it, use it. Think of how you can help it, how it can help you summarize facts, explain complex ideas, and really brainstorm new connections. But in the rapid pace of change, I think everyone is asking the same question. How do you really get started with transformative Gen AI capabilities with confidence? And I think of all of my conversations with customers, we're all asking the same things. How do you balance cost with competitive advantage? How do you scale AI initiatives quickly and efficiently? And then how do you also safeguard sensitive data and privacy? Which takes us to this really interesting inflection point, which is exactly where we are now in the world, in the industry, and also in Pakistan. Because majority of CXOs, so the top C-suite, 96% recognize that generative AI will be critical to their business's success in the years to come. But 94% also acknowledge that at the very beginning of this Gen AI journey. So if you're feeling that you may be behind or you're unsure about how do you use this technology, there's so much change. I feel that too. I feel almost dumbstruck every day by the pace of change, but realize that we are all in the same boat going at this journey together. And I think it's a really important point because as we know from McKinsey, Gen AI is set to unlock nearly $3 trillion in the global economy over the next few years. And the segments I really want to focus on are marketing, sales, and operations. That's where we can harness the biggest value of this. This makes me really proud, right? And I think and Google and also as a Pakistani, it's, we are really primed for innovation to power the global economy and the world ahead of us. We have the 5th largest population in the world, with 60% under 30. That gives us a really dynamic opportunity now to harness this workforce and all of us here to see how can we power up and drive the economy. We have 111 million people are using the internet, creating new opportunities, the 3rd highest number of freelancers in the world. And from that, we should take confidence that we're also English speaking, native in that, to really have a unique position in how we power global companies through Pakistan, through our tech, through our innovation, through our creativity, through brainstorming, to really drive this change in the world we see. But before we kind of think about what is happening with generative AI, I think it's really important as founders, leaders, CEOs, operators, executives, to think, what is the point of using this? And it's very easy to get excited and just find something cool and just run away with it. But we need to drive real transformative change. We have to stop and pause and think which part of the organization do we really want to drive this change from top-down leadership, build the infrastructure for technology to work, and then also bottoms-up, ground-up training the workforce across product, operations, sales, and customer development. And I'm just going to flash up a couple of different examples where generative AI is having a really transformative impact across marketing, IT, and operations. And you can see some of the really cool use cases. And the reality is that actually this is just a snapshot. There are probably more use cases in the audience that are not on here. There are more use cases being developed literally right now. We just came across some really interesting work using spatial technology. It's not on the screen, right? So we have to constantly be thinking, how can we deploy this technology? And my top tip for that is really focusing on, ask yourself these 3 questions. What is the vision for your business? What are the problems that you're facing? And what are the metrics for success? And then we go back to see what is the Gen AI that we can use for that. So if we take marketing and creative, there might be a case where as a founder, as a marketing leader, You might be thinking, I can use generative AI to create new exciting blog content, whether it's for advertising, whether it's for social media posts. How do we really use this to drive user acquisition? How do we use this to drive brand awareness, sales, leads for your business across different channels, right? We have to think in the online world, the offline world, and now the AI-enabled world. And that's where generative AI can really help us speed up that constant iterative process to match back to human curiosity. Product to IT. You might be a developer thinking, right, I need to use generative AI to, let's say, accelerate my testing and my code for how I generate software. And that could be through using natural language to better automate key tasks. You can use GenAI to understand where are the bugs in your code, so you can focus more on the real deep science and deep research of this. And the whole point of this is that the AI-powered tools can really boost your efficiency, improve your code quality, and really focus in on that innovation. And finally, operations and finance, right? I think this is a really interesting new space. It's sometimes less glamorous, but it actually has a really dramatic effect on the bottom line, where we think of creating assistants for customer service. But how many people have thought about creating assistants for their own workforce? Where if your own employees have questions about whether it's about promotions, workforce, collaboration, new projects, why can't they talk to an assistant as well as a human person in that conversation? Or in the finance department, how can you use AI to really speed up payroll, accounting, very simple things that have a really big effect on people's time, but also operation effectiveness for that. So let's explore some of the key tools that you can use to help you do this. And that's where I'm just going to flash up again where we've seen generative AI really go above and beyond a concept. And you can see across the different sectors, across tech, financial services, logistics, media, entertainment, where companies have really gone deep into how they're using Gen AI capabilities. And I've intentionally used global brands, because I think that should be our ambition as well, when we look at how can we really emulate and replicate this success here. Gemini. And to capture this opportunity, say hello to Gemini on the screen, but maybe in your pockets, on your Android phone, or maybe on your laptop. This is Google's most capable and most advanced model yet to really make AI helpful for everyone. Think of this as your assistant, think of this as your partner, think of this as your enabler for how you can really drive success for your business. You might be, let's say, applying to college, changing careers, drafting a business plan. Think of how you can use Gemini through better prompting and better data uploading to how you can generate back your different ideas. Gemini 2.0, which was announced a couple of weeks ago, has the longest context window, which means that it can harness and really tackle more complex data that you upload in it. It can handle and tackle more complex questions, more complex business scenarios, and give you back improved answers in how we're doing that. And all Gemini users actually have access to 2.0, 2.0 Flash, which is an experimental model. So I'd really encourage you all to be using that and really experimenting. And I think that that's the best thing to be doing with these tools, is really experiment, really try and see what can we push out, whether we're trying to draft a business plan, automate some part of our business, or really bring it into being a true AI assistant for our company and for our partner. If you're a developer in this room, you will have hopefully seen Google AI Studio. This is the fastest way to start building, on Gemini. It's our next generation family of multimodal generative AI models, and you can use this to prompt with text, image inputs about what are the things and the products and the applications you want to build. So again, really just go in and experiment. What are the different tools that you like to bring? So it could be maybe, we take the podcast recording from here. You want to split that into different segments, for example. You want to do the automated way. Maybe you don't have time to listen to the whole thing again. You can use Google AI Studio for that, but also more complex examples. I want to talk about something as well that I think is really fundamental to humans. Question for the group: what % of searches every day are new on Google search? You can shout out answers. Who said 75? 75%? Any other answers?
Probably very less than
5-10%, okay. 5-10%?
A query that has not been raised before or similar similar queries because rather than to similarly.
A query that has not been raised before.
10 to 20%.
Okay, 10 to 20%. 60%. Okay, so it's actually 15%. 15% of daily searches have never been used before, and by that, it's a unique combination of words or ultimately the phrase, right? And what this shows is that human curiosity is limitless. And what's amazing is that this has remained true for over a decade. So when we think of why GenAI now, it's because of this. It's because humans, we are searching, we are looking for information, we want to connect with more businesses, identify new themes at a faster rate than we ever have before. And Google is also changing, right, to match this back. And that's where you can see that search is evolving in two major ways. One, in the questions that people are asking, and two, the results that Google is providing. So let's have a breakdown of what this is looking like. And you can start to see some inkling of some of the changes on the right-hand side, which hopefully you've experienced and played around with already. So knowing what question to ask is a very hard thing for when we're looking for information. And in fact, 4 out of 5 consumers say they'd find it helpful if AI allowed them to search for things that are difficult to describe, that can't be necessarily explained with words. That could be language barriers, that could be information gaps, or that could just be things that we're just not sure how to really put into text. And that's where we're seeing a really big explosion and growth in how consumers are searching with search, with complementing search with image and video. And that's where, for those who have an Android phone, you may have used Circle to Search, where if you use your camera and you hold it up against something, you can circle literally something that you want to search for. Google will provide you that search back. Or you can use Lens, right? Lens will then match back what you're searching for into maybe some advertised products. And that's also an opportunity then for businesses in this room to think, how are people changing the way they're searching for my product or my business? And how can I better match back to the changing consumer landscape? We've also seen a big growth in video, right, on the right-hand side. You might be listening to something, watching something taking place, and you're thinking, how do I really describe this motion? And that's where you can bring into account the relevant insights for your business. And I think to that note, queries are also getting longer and more complex. Think of it now like 10 searches into one. You know, for years, search queries were normally these 2 to 3 short word combinations. And as an advertiser, when you're going online to market your product, you can normally just target a list of keywords to say, I want to just hit these exact specific keywords and advertise back to that. But the reality is that to find the right consumer with the right message at the right time is changing faster than we can match up to it. Which is why, for example, over the last 6 months, we've seen the volume of searches with more than 5 words grow 1.5 times faster as compared to shorter queries. So it's really important that search can answer these comprehensive questions as fast as possible. And to do this, we have introduced AI overviews. So hopefully you will have seen this on your search. This is a new search experience that is looking at how do we answer billions of queries faster and really match back what your business is providing online to the changing consumer landscape for AI overviews. So have you seen this, played around with it? Okay, good, yeah. And Gemini 2.0 is baked into AI overviews. Sorry, I think the video isn't quite playing on how this looks like. But if you're unsure what this experience is, you can open your phone, go on Google, just have a quick look, type something, and it'll show you that conversational experience for what does search look like in AI overviews. I want to talk to you about a couple of more things around GenAI and how you can match that back. So with the changing landscape of search, the changing landscape, how people are changing, let's look at VO. VO is our state-of-the-art video generation model. Now, previously, we would have had vast, extensive creative workflows looking at how do we really build video assets. Now, developed by Google DeepMind, VO generates high-quality, high-definition videos based on your text or image prompts to put this into a video. Now, again, the video is not playing, but imagine this is your image. Maybe you said, make the dog come to life. I want the dog to be smiling. That's exactly what that model will then put out. A real more animation of the dog, whether it's be laughing, engaging. Why is this important? Business leaders, it will reduce your cost. It increases your time. You can go quicker from ideation of a new creative concept to launch. Whether it's for marketing campaigns or whether for your internal social media posts, you can really streamline your workflow on how you use this. Imagen 3 is also our highest quality text-to-image model. capable of generating images with even better detail, richer lighting, and fewer distracting alerts. So how many times have we taken a shoot of our product or service or our business and think, I wish that the lighting was better, or this person wasn't in the background, or you maybe want to fine tune some of that. Imagen 3 better understands natural language. So you can talk to it as if you talk to your creative team when you're inputting this into the model, and it will then edit back out for you very simple examples of how you can make very small but subtle but very large impactful changes. This is available for creators, for select creators online through private viewing, so I definitely again would consider looking at that as well. Another one which is really easy to pick up for generative AI is in Google Workspace. This is how we work every single day. Whether you're looking to do some more research for your product, you want to build a sales assistant for how you can drive more sales, a writing coach for emails, you might want to change your persona. Sorry, I think the weather in Pakistan has actually got to me. You want to change your persona of how you can write. You need a project manager for your tech team, for your marketing team. You can look at that from Google Sheets. Or you need a meeting assistant. How do you capture notes? Are you making all the right summaries? Very simple things that if you install across your business can have a really dramatic effect across the entire workflow. And also, if you think for your teams, you get them AI enabled through very simple, subtle changes in their daily workflow or through Google Workspace. And the final one is Project Astra. Now, I don't know if the video will play. The video didn't play. But in essence, this is the future of AI assistants. And I think this is just so exciting for where the world is going. Where if you imagine in 5, 10 years, even if not now, we will live in a world with agents around us, for each of us, for our businesses. And this is Google's first step in how do we build a collaborative, responsible AI agent that is able to have better dialogue in multiple languages with consumers and users. How does it integrate with Google Search, Lens, Maps, making even more useful as your assistant. We have improved memory. So Astra can use up to 10 minutes of in-session memory, remember more conversations. So what the video would have showed you is this gentleman here, let's say, is going back home. He can't remember the PIN code, he can't remember where he put his keys for his house, for his apartment. But because he took a video of it and shared it with somebody, he can use Astra to identify where were my keys, what was my PIN code, and try and jog some of that experience over there and then ultimately get back access to his house. And it's also improved latency. So again, with new improvements in Gemini, it's one of the fastest models around. The agent can really understand human language at the speed of humans, which is also really exciting for how this goes. And then finally, let's see if this plays. No, that's fine. I'll share some of these videos afterwards. I think they're quite interesting, actually. Like any business, you may have seen, for example, you want to drive revenue growth is obviously key. And one of the superpowers of generative AI is how do we make customer experiences more conversational? And how do we really answer customer queries, but then also help them find back to the problem they're looking for? So customer here could be asking, which bike works best for triathlons and commuting to, let's say, a bike shop company. That's why generative AI can build agentic experiences for the customer to ask this question and then go through that conversation flow as if they're talking to a human. Don't think of this as a chatbot because those are more assistive. They're more rule-based. You ask X, you get Y. This will use natural language. It will use sentiment analysis to really understand what is the user asking, how are they asking, why are they asking. Really dig deep for that context. It can even answer more complicated questions. It can get into more conversational flow and then really match back to bring that customer satisfaction. And the best thing about things like this is when you use Gemini, you can also train it on your own data. So there might be things that you've picked up in your own businesses that you say, I want to match back to some customer queries or conversations, particularly around that. So it's really, I think, really useful to think of these different experiences of how we use generative AI. But if I had to leave you with a couple of different thoughts, is that the moment is now. We are in this inflection point to really seize the Gen AI opportunity. Most of us are just getting started and we're still learning every day. The pace of change is really exciting. The more we experiment, the more we test, the more we try, is how we can really leverage the best capabilities. Very important to identify a clear use case. What is the business objective? What is the challenge? What are the metrics for success? And then finally, be leading with an AI-driven growth mindset where we want to enable all of our teams to really be using the best of technology. And for the startups in the room, you will hopefully be familiar with the cloud program that Google offers. So if you're not, you can definitely take a scan of that, looking at how can you get started on the credits and make the most of our technology. But otherwise, thank you very much. Really enjoyed meeting with you, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about GenAI.